Because I felt sorry for you, I came up with a great idea. A great idea, yes. Just look at me, okay? Angela, wearing a wedding dress, took a microphone from the staff. Unexpectedly, she started speaking to the guests at the venue. My sister is older and less educated, but would anyone like to marry her? Angela looked at me, grinning proudly, but she didn't realize the big mistake she had just made. People in the venue began to buzz, and cold glances were directed at Angela. Angela didn't even notice and grabbed the microphone again. Come on, sis, you have to be proactive. There are plenty of doctors here, you know. You're done, huh? Shortly after, something shocking happened to Angela. My name is Ruth, I'm 29 years old and just an ordinary working woman. But there's one thing that makes me stand out. I became a lawyer after only finishing middle school. I have a younger sister who is 2 years younger than me. My sister Angela is attractive and charming and has always been adored by our family. In contrast, I have an average face and body and am not particularly charming. Because I was seen as the lesser child, my family and relatives treated me coldly. Even though I worked harder than anyone else at studying, I couldn't compete with Angela's charm. My parents only cared about Angela and ignored me. At first, it hurt, but I couldn't worry about it forever. I gave up on being loved by my parents and focused on studying. Studying never let me down. The more effort I put in, the better my results were. I hoped that if I did well in my studies, my parents might praise me someday. With that small hope, I worked hard all through middle school and always got the top scores on exams. But for 9 years, from elementary school to middle school, my parents never praised me. Instead, they said things like, "Rankings don't matter if your grades aren't good. That's right, you only got an A, not an A+ in science." But this exam was really difficult. Can't you do anything but make excuses? It's because you're not working hard enough. You're really a disagreeable child. Don't show me your report card unless it's an A+. I'm sorry. No matter how hard I worked, my parents would not acknowledge me. They would blame me for not getting an A+. However, what saddened me most was not being looked down upon by my parents. It was Angela's words. After being severely scolded by my father and mother, Angela would come into my room without knocking. Sis, did you get scolded again?" she said, picking up my report card from my desk and snickering. "Even though your grades are so good, you got scolded. That's too bad, sis. They praise me just for not failing any subjects. Did you come here just to say that?" "I was worried about you because you might be upset, so I came to check on you. But I'm upset at the way you're talking to me." "Worried? If you were really worried about me, you wouldn't say things like that." "See, that's the thing. Because you're so unfriendly, that's why Mom and Dad don't love you." With a contemptuous look, Angela left the room. Right after that, I could hear her laughing with my parents in the living room. I should be used to this by now, but tears welled up in my eyes. I decided not to rely on my parents and not to let Angela's words bother me. I clenched my report card and decided to study hard, get a job soon, and leave this house. With this goal in mind, I became even more committed to my studies. Then in the fall of my 9th grade, my father told me something shocking. "Ruth, you'll have to work instead of going to high school, okay?" "What? Wait, Dad, what are you saying? Isn't it obvious? It's a waste to spend money on you. If you want to go to high school, earn your own money." "That's impossible. I'm still in middle school. I can't even get a part-time job." "Then give it up. After discussing it with your mom, we decided to spend money only on Angela, so we don't have any money to spend on you." "No way." Feeling utterly hopeless, I stood frozen while my mother and sister smirked at me. Looking back as an adult, I know now that there were options like scholarships or waivers to attend high school, but back then, I felt crushed knowing I couldn't go. From that day, I lost all motivation to study. My homeroom teacher said it would be a waste of my grades not to continue, but my parents adamantly refused to let me go. So after middle school, I gave up on further education and started working in a factory. Since I was too young to live alone, I worked hard until I turned 18, saving every penny. I planned to leave home the day I came of age. I paid half of my earnings to my parents for living expenses and endured those painful years. On my 18th birthday, I left a note and proudly walked away from a house filled with painful memories. Ironically, my parents and Angela never reached out to me, not even a message. At first, I felt sadness, but as I kept busy with work, I began caring less about my family. Surprisingly, without the stress of home, I started feeling more at ease. That's when I decided to revisit my love for studying. After 3 years away, I started by reviewing and quickly found joy in it again. I read high school textbooks and developed a habit of reading extensively, which sparked my interest in law from the books I read about it. Dreaming of becoming a lawyer with only a middle school education seemed far-fetched at first. But I learned that passing a preliminary exam allowed even a middle school graduate to take the bar exam. From then on, I studied harder than ever. I studied at home and even during work breaks, flipping through legal books while eating lunch. Fortunately, my older coworkers, mostly my parents' age, supported and encouraged me. At 23, I passed the bar exam and left the factory to work at a law firm. After 4 years there, I started my own practice 2 years ago. Today I work as a consultant lawyer for a hospital, living a fulfilling life. Sometimes I wonder if my parents would be proud of me now that I'm a lawyer. Maybe they would finally approve of me. Though I sometimes think about it, I've never reached out to them and likely won't in the future. Unexpectedly, the day of reunion arrived when I received a message from Angela announcing her upcoming marriage to a doctor at the age of 27. I hadn't heard from my family since leaving home at 18, so this caught me off guard. Despite my hesitation about seeing Angela and my parents after all these years, I couldn't miss my sister's wedding. I replied that I would attend. Angela only provided the date and location in her message. At the end, she added, "Don't forget to bring some gifts from me, okay?" It seemed like Angela wanted me there just to receive gifts, assuming she wouldn't have to give me one in return later. With a resolved decision to never meet my family again after this reunion, I went to Angela's wedding. On the day of Angela's wedding a month later, I wore a blue party dress and went to the reception. After checking in and sitting in the family area, I saw my mom and dad were already there. They looked at me, chuckled, and said, "You've got some nerve showing up here with your low-income factory job. It's embarrassing to introduce you as family. Angela shouldn't have invited you." I told her, but she just wanted gifts from you. I couldn't believe they were speaking so casually right in front of me. I'd briefly hoped sharing my current life might repair our relationship, but that hope quickly faded. Without saying a word, I took my seat. Looking around, I recognized a few faces on the groom's side. Wait, isn't he? And her too. Could it be? When I searched the groom's name, it confirmed my suspicion. What a coincidence. But today my main focus was getting through the wedding quietly. Alone, I managed to calm myself down. The bride and groom made their entrance, speeches were given, and the wedding proceeded. Finally, it was time for the meal and photos. My parents went over to the newlyweds, clinging to Angela and taking many photos with big smiles. Ignoring them, I quietly ate my meal. Unexpectedly, Angela came up to me. "Hey sis, it's been a while. Are you enjoying yourself?" "Yeah, the food is really good," I replied. "I know you work in a factory and don't earn much, so you probably don't get to eat such delicious food often, right? You should be grateful, haha. Are you upset?" "Sorry, but it's true, isn't it? You must be so jealous that I'm marrying a doctor." Ignoring Angela, I felt she had no sympathy for me at all. Then she whispered in my ear, "Because I feel sorry for you, I came up with a great idea." "A great idea, yes. Just look at me, okay?" Dressed in her wedding gown, Angela unexpectedly took a microphone from the staff and addressed the guests. "My sister is older and less educated. Would anyone like to marry her?" Angela announced. I was shocked. What is she saying? I thought to myself. She's also broke and earns nothing. Can anyone be kind enough to marry her? Angela looked at me with a triumphant grin. Even my parents joined in, mocking me, saying, "Please do her a favor." I couldn't hold back anymore. Why do you keep mocking me? How could they say such things, especially at a celebration like this? It's unbelievable. I'll show them reality, I thought, standing up. The venue began to murmur, and people gave Angela cold looks. She seemed oblivious and held onto the microphone. "Come on, sis, you need to take action. There are plenty of doctors here. You're out of luck, huh? You'll understand soon. You'll realize what a terrible mistake you've made," I muttered. "What are you talking about? I did it for you." As Angela spoke, the groom's voice echoed through the venue. "Wait, hold on. What do you mean you're leaving?" Turning towards the sound, all of the groom's colleagues began to stand up. A man who seemed to be the hospital director sternly addressed the groom. "Your bride's remarks made me very uncomfortable. I'm sorry, but we're leaving now." "Wait, I understand her comments were inappropriate. I'll talk to her about it." "That's not the issue. Don't you know who her older sister is?" "Huh? No, I just met her today and Angela said she's a middle school graduate working in a factory." "Don't joke. Her older sister is a respected lawyer and moreover, she's the consultant lawyer for our hospital." "What? The hospital's consultant lawyer?" The groom was taken aback. The groom, Angela, and my parents were speechless. The hospital where I work as a consultant lawyer is where the groom also works. I recognized his guests. They were familiar faces from my work. The hospital director was upset by Angela's insensitive remarks. While the groom is just one of the doctors, being a consultant lawyer holds weight with the director and others. Realizing the seriousness, the groom angrily confronted Angela. "What have you done? Your comments have damaged my reputation." "I didn't need to. I didn't know Ruth became a lawyer." "You can't just brush it off like that." And saying such things about your sister? That's very cruel. I'm disappointed. Please wait, there are reasons for this, Angela pleaded. I don't want to hear any excuses. Let's pretend this marriage proposal never happened. No way, Angela turned pale and collapsed to her knees. The groom angrily left with his guests. I stood up to leave, and from behind, Angela shouted, Please, do something, sis. I responded firmly, Do something? Why should I? You brought this on yourself. Don't play the victim because your attempt at humor backfired. It's not right. What? Why would you say that? I didn't mean for this to happen. If only you had told me you became a lawyer. Why would I need to tell you? You never reached out to me. I was planning to cut ties after this wedding. It's satisfying to see your regretful face at the end. Too bad you lost your doctor fiancé. Good luck finding another. With those words, I left the venue. I could faintly hear guests criticizing Angela and my parents. Indeed, Angela's engagement was called off. My parents, who had hoped Angela marrying a doctor would secure their future, were furious with her for the first time over this incident. Angela, never scolded before, seemed shattered by this and sought help from me, but I ignored her calls and cut off all family contacts. She quit her job for marriage and is now unemployed, her relationship with our parents strained as she stays isolated in her room. As for me, I'm living stable and fulfilling days. Both work and personal life are going well, and I'm content. While I may not have had a supportive family, I've found success through hard work and supportive people around me. It hasn't been easy, but I'm grateful for my efforts. Now I aim to live comfortably and enjoy life.